everybody. Welcome to another episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I am Bodkins, and of course, with me is my main man, Wit. Wit, what is up, my man?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the newest addition to my cup noodle family. We got spicy shrimp. Try it out.
Wit, before we get into the power our pound for pound list, Dana White offered up two huge fights. The first one is, man, I mean, $299. With, I don't know if you've looked at that card, but Jesus, that card is amazing. And to add to it, he has our guy Benoit Saint Denis versus Dustin Poirier in a 5-round co-main event. And then on UFC 300, he announced it will be Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian. Winner will face Islam later this year. Now, Islam has come out and said it's going to be him and Gaethje this summer, and then at MSG, he wants to fight the winner of this fight. So, but let's get to Dana's business first. I mean, let's look at $299. Just, you know, we'll preview this card as a whole when it gets there. But what's your thoughts on just the announcement itself? BSD versus Dustin Diamond Poirier.
I mean, for real, dog. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do following this one. Dana White likes to put the dynamite in the front of the mine shaft, if you will, because this is pretty much front loading us for the rest of the year. Now, Dustin Poirier coming off of that tough loss, the Gaethje and everything. I like Dustin Poirier, and I'm looking forward for him to making a concerted comeback, so to speak, in this ride. Now, don't get me twisted, because we talked about it. We watched Benoit Saint Denis take out his last opponent easily, it seemed like. And I'm talking, when I say easy, I'm not talking like regular easy. Nah, there was absolutely no competition when it came to Benoit Saint Denis. So, like, at this point in time in his career, we're getting ready to see him to make that ascent, or that possible ascent into title contention, and you got to take on somebody right there at the top, just like Justin Gaethje. So, of course, when I'm thinking about the TKO of Frivola, like, that was rather, what's a good word? It was. I was looking for more. Yeah, it was rather quick. I was looking for more from that fight. I didn't get to see all of the bag of Justin Gaethje at that time. I mean, not Justin Gaethje, but Benoit Saint Denis at the time. But when it happened, of course, you know what I'm saying, he ended it with a leg kick, with a leg kick straight to the dome. Dustin Poirier is going to have to be on defense for everything when it comes to this one. And the Diamond don't play. So I'm looking for this one to be a head banger for sure, especially since we're talking 5 rounds in a co-main event. I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah, I think get the fireworks ready for that one, because, I mean, huge jump for BSD is what I'm going to start calling him, because, man, number 12, he's ranked number 12, and, Poirier's all the way at the top at number 3. And kudos to Dustin Poirier for not squatting on his spot. He's fighting way down and giving this up-and-comer a shot. Poirier's, I think he's trying to show, hey, bring on the best up-and-comer. I'm still top dog in this division, and against a guy like that, who, I mean, he could be a new boogeyman of this division. If BSD goes out there and knocks out Dustin Poirier, man, he would jump the ranks very high. And kudos to Charles Oliveira for doing the same thing. He could have sat and waited and said, I should be next for the title, and now he's fighting down in the rankings as well. We know Charles is number 1, and he's fighting Arman, who's number 4. And we just saw Arman Sarukian just knock out Beneil Dariush in about 30 seconds time frame too. So, winner gets the fight. Both guys fought Islam once and lost. Arman's fight was really close to took him on short notice and gave everything Islam he could handle. So I like that fight at 300 too. Dana said he is going to announce. He said, I got to update within the next hour. So maybe we might be on the first on air still. But he said he'll announce the first title fight for UFC 300. So that'll be interesting to see on there. I think it's going to be Leon versus Bilal would be my guess, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm definitely behind you with this one, bro. It's gonna be one of those years, man, where I think we talked about it last week, where it's a possibility that these titles could change hands maybe once, maybe even twice. But it's starting off with a bang when we talk about 299. You got 300 lined up to be another one where we're gonna somehow, some way put some title contention in that one. I don't know where we could go from here, bro, because we already hit it up, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And kudos to and Charles and Dustin for fighting down here and taking, risking their spots. And this is good for this sport. It's injecting new life. I feel like Charles, Dustin, Gaethje, they've been at the top of this, lightweight division for the last 3 or 4 years. So it's time to finally start getting some of these new guys, some new faces up in that top 5 division. But they got to beat the old guard first. Can the new guard beat the old guard? And we'll find out.
Yeah, man, definitely, man, and Dustin. I mean, excuse me, not Dustin, but Benoit Saint-Denis is not to be slept on. Now, everybody knows me. I do a little video gaming. Okay, if you do Red Dead Redemption 2 and you go to Saint Denis, it's a dangerous place. It's real New Orleans. Like, I'm really somehow putting this in there just because when you look at his last 5 fights, he's taking everybody out. And one of the things that I always mention in MMA, especially in the UFC, you got to stay busy. His last 3 fights, really, he's been taking all the competition. So this one going at the top, somewhere at the top of the rankings when you're fighting up, like you said, you got Gaethje fighting, not Gaethje, but you got Poirier fighting down. I think this is going to be one of those ones where, especially if Benoit comes out with a really convincing victory, we're going to see him jumping up in that top 5, 6, 7 spot real easy.
Yeah, I mean, if he beats Poirier, and we'll just talk about that when those cards get there. I just wanted to get your initial thoughts on just the fights itself being announced. Let's go ahead and get it. We'll jump into our pound for pound rankings. I know you said you had yours, but the list got washed away at work.
Oh, man,
I'll give out my pound for pound list. I'm going to start with I'm going to start with the women. I'm going to go 10-1.
Right.
If you want to say anybody's difference name or chime in, number 10, I know she was struggling earlier in the year, but she had a huge win her last time out, that's none other than Jessica Andrade. She just knocked out her last fight, knocked out Mackenzie Dern.
Mm-hmm.
So I put Andrade at 10, just because she's still tough and can be right there. My number 9 is none other than Yan Xiaonan, is my number 9 on my pound for pound. She's right there. She's getting ready to fight for the strawweight title. She's probably number 2. She's number 2 ranked in the start and she's got a fight coming up too. Remember, she just beat Andrade actually last time out. So waiting to see what they're going to do with her, whether she's going to get the title fight against Wei Li. So it should be her or Tatiana Suarez. And my number 8 fighter, she's hurt right now, or else she'd probably be fighting for the vacant bantamweight title. I got Juliana Pena at number 8.
Ooh, that's a good one.
My number 7 is this girl will be, I believe, the future. The future bantam or future flyweight title holder, and that's none other than Erin Blanchfield at number 7. They got to figure out this Valentina Alexa Grasso scenario first. Right. Erin Blanchfield actually is getting ready to fight Manuel Ferro for a number 1 contender spot. So I love Erin Blanchfield. She's on an absolute tear. I believe she's probably a future flyweight champion. Speaking of future champions, I just mentioned her. My number 6 women's fighter is none other than Tatiana Suarez. She should be getting ready. She needs maybe one more win, or maybe they just go ahead and do her and Zhang Wei Li. Is Tatiana Suarez coming back off of some layoff time, and she's won her last 2 fights.
Right.
My number 5 fighter is in Bellator, and that's none other than Chris Cyborg. She is my number 5 women's title. Looks like, who knows? She's got a boxing match next. Then maybe she'll get back into the MMA. But I got Chris Cyborg. Number 4 is the former women's flyweight champion, and that's Valentina Shevchenko. I got the Bullet at number 4. I believe that, she could have been, she could be the flyweight champion again right now if there wasn't that awful 10-8 round that they gave Grasso in a robbery.
Okay.
My number 3 women's fighter is, and maybe she's higher, but maybe I'm just too high on her. I love her to death. Kayla Harrison from the PFL. Maybe she's going to fight Cyborg. Maybe she'll come. I hope she comes to the UFC and can get into the if she can drop down and figure it out and fight at 135 for bantamweight instead of 145 at featherweight. Got to figure that out, how to lose that extra 10 pounds. I know it's tough to do, not saying, but whatever. Number 2 is the current strawweight or flyweight champion, and that is none other than Alexa Grasso. You beat Valentina Shevchenko not once but twice.
Yeah.
You're number 2. And my number 1 pound for pound fighter is Zhang Wei Li in the women's. Due to Wei Li's, the only person she can lose that she loses to is Rose.
Rose Namajunas. Yep.
Yeah, that's the only person she ever loses to. So I got them. I mean, I could have put Rose at 10. I thought about, so honorable mention to One Thug Rose. I thought about putting her. She was kind of right there. But Wei Li is my women's pound for pound champion.
I like that right there, man. You got Zhang Wei Li, rightfully so. When you pretty much take out one of the best in the division, probably to ever do it. I mean, you got to give her a lot of credit on that one. Somebody that keeps on popping up in conversations all the time, especially is like, number 1, 2 pound for pound. You got Zhang Wei Li in there. You got I can't ever say her name right.
Zhao Xiaonan.
Yeah, Zhao Xiaonan.
Yeah, she's number 9. Yep.
I like her. I like her right there somewhere to the bottom. She always holds it down in all of the fights. Somebody I want to throw in there that it's another name that would probably be in that 7, 8, 9 area for me. And this is you're pretty heavy on this one as far as like your knowledge. Right now, Bellator's champ Liz Carmouche, and Liz Carmouche had a good run in UFC. Of course, she took some losses. She just won, against Lima. What is that? Yeah, Lima Lee McFarlane. Then she is currently the Bellator champ. But she last fought in October. So we got to throw her in there somewhere. And then one name I kept thinking about just a little higher. It's kind of different, but Valentina Shevchenko. You look, when you got going on, what you going on when you going against Alexa Grasso.
I got Valentina at 4. Valentina at 4.
When you got Alexa Grasso and Valentino right there on top of each other, man. I mean, you got the right idea when it comes to rankings, man. So I really can't argue with this one. You got them pretty much put in the right direction. You got Cyborg in there. That's a wild card I actually have written down. So I'm glad you included her. You gotta throw Cyborg. She is a legend. Somebody else I had to want to make sure we got in there. Blanchfield, isn't it Blanchfield?
Yeah, Aaron Blanchfield. Aaron Blanchfield. Yep.
I love Aaron Blanchfield. Definitely a heavy hitter. One of those young ladies who, hey, look, the last time.
She could be a future champion. I think she could be champion maybe at the end of this year. By the end of this year,
I was watching that back on on the 26th in August, and I was like, hey, when you win like that in unanimous decision, I gotta throw her kudos. So keep an eye out for Aaron Blanchfield in the future, walking her way up on your pound for pound list. But man, I think you get pretty. This is like a B+ list right here, Botkins. Hey, we passing right now. Flying colors.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it. All right, let's get into my other list. We'll get into the men's.
Ooh, this is what we talking about.
Number 10.
We bread our butter right here.
Number 10. Bellator PFL's best fighter. Patchy Mix. Patchy Nix at number 10. I think he's their best fighter.
Okay.
So I put him at number 10. And then I get to he's their bantamweight the bantamweight champion. Number 9, Alexander Pantoja, the current flyweight champion of the UFC. I like him at 9. Number 8 is I got Izzy, the former middleweight champion of the world, obviously coming off the loss of Sean Strickland. Speaking of Sean Strickland, I have Sean Strickland at 7 because he is the middleweight champion of the world. 7. Number 6, I got Sugar Sean O'Malley, the current bantamweight champion of the world. I got him at 6. Numbers 5 is Leon Edwards.
Okay.
I got Leon, the current welterweight champion, at number 5. Number 4, I have Alex Pereira, current former middleweight champion, current light heavyweight champion at number 4. Number 3, I have Alexander Volkanovski for current featherweight champion. Just fought at lightweight. His 2 times ago. Twice last year. Obviously fell short to Islam, and that's who I got at number 2. I have Islam Makhachev at number 2, and I know he may or may not fight this year, or it's not on the books yet, and he's injured. But I got John Jones as number 1. I am a little bit upset at myself here. I did not have I don't know why I didn't think of it. I think it's because I wanted to put a Bellator fighter on my list, but I don't have Tom Aspinall, so I'm a little mad at myself. Tom Aspinall,
Tommy,
but I got John Jones as number 1. But honorable mention Tom Aspinall, and honorable mention to Demetrius Johnson. I just think DJ is done fighting, so I didn't want to put him on the list. So number 1 though is still John Jones. And honorable mentions, I got my guy Tom Aspinall, and you could even throw in Max Holloway as an honorable mention as well. I mean, men's is tough. It's tough. Yeah. But I got Jones 1, Islam 2, Volk 3, Alex Pierre 4, Leon 5, Sean O'Malley 6, Sean Strickland 7, Izzy 8, Alexander Pantoja at 9, and then Patchy Mix at 10.
All right, man. I'm going to go ahead and throw you a bone with this one. You got, in my mind, for active fighters, you got 2 through 4 right. If we were to take Jones out and we were to do Makhachev and then, of course, Volk, then Pereira, that would be like the guys who've been busy this year at 1, 2, and 3. Now, my surprise was you got Sean Strickland at 8?
At 7.
7? Okay. Everybody knows it's a possibility that Sean Strickland won that one on a farce, but I do get.
If you got Izzy, if you got Izzy at 8, I got Izzy at 8. You got to put the guy who beat him higher.
I would have put, and this is just me, because Izzy did beat Pereira, so I would have put him at maybe 6 and still put Strickland right behind him. That's just me.
You would have put Strickland below Izzy,
even though he beat him.
They fought each other. Wait, I can't do that by logic. You can't. I can't do that.
But he beat Pereira, though. He beat Pereira. He slayed the boogeyman.
He did. But I mean, Pierre went on to win. Light heavyweight.
Yeah, right, he did.
That's why Pierre is so high on my list. He carried 2 weight divisions. You know what I mean? Definitely. Pound for pound is this. If they were all the same weight, who would win in these fights? So I got I have Pierre at 4, and I'm okay with. I understand what you're saying. Well, Sean Strickland, we still can't believe he's the middleweight champion in the world. But he may not be here, this time in 2 weeks. But we'll talk about that on next week's show. As we preview, UFC 297? 297. Yeah. So,
and listen though, I'll even say this for recency bias, purposes. DDP is like number 11
You could,
You
yeah.
know,
Hey, DDP. Well, I mean, we'll redo the list in a few weeks, maybe before the next pay per view.
right?
And DDP, if he's the middleweight champion, and maybe Sean Strickland would disappear from the Bodkins pound for pound rankings.
Hey, you're probably and you're pretty good on that one. And I'm really somewhere. I'm a little torn because, of course, last year this time we would have Kamzat Shemaev somewhere in this list. We would have had to because he was
He's just
before.
not active enough. He's only fighting one time a year. It's hard for me.
Right. It's like the boogeyman only comes out like on a full moon, on a blood moon, in the winter solstice. Like, but last year this time, definitely Kamzat Shemaev would have been somebody to have, a little somewhere, maybe not at the top, maybe right there in the middle of that 5, 6, 7 range. And then hey, look, you got to throw in there the guy that lost to Tom Aspinall somewhere towards the bottom. And of course, we can go on, like literally when I think about it, like we could go on and on about especially the that heavyweights that could have been somewhere in there. Right now, in my mind, if you really want to say and just lock it in, you definitely have to put John Jones in there. And honorable mention, man. Like the honorable mentions for this one is are hard and
Not even put my guy Shavkat on there. I love Shavkat.
Shavkat right there on the back end too.
Yeah.
One of our future possible champions that we discussed on last week's episode. So definitely Shavkat Rachmaninoff. We put him right there between in that 11, 12, 13 range. I'm definitely with it. And what's my guy? I just was trying to think of my guy's name. What's the Bellator? He's the heavyweight champ now. What's his name?
Ryan Bader.
Ryan Bader right there at 12 or 13.
I don't know what you
Bader
want.
at 13.
You
man.
love Bader for some reason.
I don't know why. If you ever played UFC 2 on PlayStation Xbox, you swinging hard swinging for the fences with Ryan Bader, man. So shout out to Bader on this one, man. Old man Bader still out here doing it big.
Yeah. Before we get into this card, I do want to ask you, what's your initial thoughts on? We got news on Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're talking this. They're talking. Hey, Francis, for all purposes, everybody who thought Francis fumbled the bag and messed up leaving the UFC, by God, no means did he. That was the perfect business decision. This man's about to make $20 million, probably just fighting Anthony Joshua, and that doesn't include the 15 probably he got from fighting Fury. And now he's going to fight AJ. They believe sometime in March, I believe.
Right. Listen, man. Once again, my appreciation goes out to the Sheikh. Alhamdulillah. You know what I'm saying? Salam alaikum and all of that good stuff. Because if we could ever go to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and watch a fight like Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua, I don't know, man. Like, when people talk about fighters who won or have won from the past year, like I gotta throw Francis in there. Although it's a technical loss to Fury that's on his record, like he lost to.
He won he lost the fight, but won the night.
Yeah, exactly. He lost arguably to the best fighter in a weight division. And when I say
his first fight.
His first fight, he put the best.
Now he's going to fight the next best guy, Anthony Joshua.
Right, and now you got to fight. Now you get an opportunity to prove to everyone that Anthony Joshua is somewhat on your level. I think it's an underestimation of Ngannou, man. I really do. I think it's a huge underestimation. Somebody's going to get clipped, and when Joshua fought Ruiz a few years ago, and Anthony Joshua, I clearly underestimated a huge, pudgy, not even overweight, but out of shape looking Ruiz that time. That's when he got put on his behind and lost his title the first time. So let's hope that Anthony Joshua doesn't go into Francis Ngannou's fight or the Francis Ngannou fight in Riyadh and take him lightly. I'm hoping to see Mike Tyson join him in the corner again, and definitely give him some pointers. But we already know Francis is tougher than tough and rougher than rough. And when those hands get to swinging, man, I hope you got metal plate in your jaw, because
we know Joshua's got a jaw that can be cracked because we've seen it cracked a time or two. Sure. I actually like Francis's chances in this fight. Obviously, from what we saw against Fury, and I know AJ will probably take him a little bit more serious. But man, I mean, it only takes one from Francis, and I think he could put Joshua down.
Man, listen, and you're exactly right. And to me, and this is just as a boxing purist, like I just watch it. I know I watched boxing since I was a kid. I watch, like, if you think about Fury, and we've seen Fury in those top ranked fights that they had on Fridays last year and the year before. Fury is way more evasive and way more defensive to me than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua wants to go in there and fight, which kind of leaves him open for the possibility, way more possibilities of getting knocked out by Ngannou than Fury. So I'm looking for this one to be a really good one. But I'm hoping that it goes the distance again, and we get to see some fair scoring this time.
Yeah, I don't want it to go the distance. I want somebody to get knocked out, so we don't even got to worry about it.
Yeah, keep it out of the judges' hands. I take that one too.
Yeah, definitely. I always try to keep it out of the judges' hands. Hey, and there may not be two better fit guys fighting each other. I mean, in heavyweight division than Anthony Joshua and Francis. I mean, say what
our grandmothers would call them brick outhouses. So yes,
they're like a shit brick, brick shit house. Yeah,
that's exactly what the two of those gentlemen are. And I'm telling you, somebody's got to get laid out on this one, especially if it's not going to the scorecard. Hey, you know what? Before we get into that, did you hear about Dana White's offer to Cowboy Cerrone?
Yeah, I did see. I think you sent it to me for Cowboy Cerrone to ride his bull.
Right.
Yeah.
He said if he lasts 8 seconds, he's gonna give him $100,000
to his charity.
Yeah. He's gonna donate $100,000 to his charity. I think that's pretty cool. Cowboy Cerrone, everybody knows, man. That's another one of my favorite all-time UFC fighters. Classic fights. And now that he is not under USADA regulations, if you go Google Cowboy Cerrone is jacked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, jacked for sure. Let's get into this week's. Finally, we got some fights on Saturday. It is headlined. Man, can we get out it's 2024. Can we get the fuck out of the Apex? I hate the Apex.
You gotta warm up the Apex every once in a while.
I hate it. Like we should never do any fights.
You gotta cut the lights on.
It was great during COVID times. COVID's dead. We can forget about it. Let's get out of the Apex. Let's just do. I don't care if they just let, you know what I mean? They should just do events somewhere. I don't care if it's the same place every weekend. They should just buy the Sphere and put fights in the Sphere every fucking weekend.
Oh, man, that'd be great. But listen, man, the Apex is like your mom's 1978, 1987 LTD. You just got to cut it on and cut the lights on every once in a while. Make sure it still goes. Throw yourself in there, have a good time, and then get right back out. So shout out to the Apex, man.
But yeah, let's jump into it. We got it's headline. The main event here is none other than Magomed Ankalaev, who is 18-1-1, and versus Johnny Walker, who is 21-7. Remember, they were fighting in Abu Dhabi, and it was a doctor stoppage. Ankalaev hit him with the knee to a downed opponent, and the doctor asked Johnny, "You know where you're at?" And he said, "The desert." And I guess that wasn't a good enough fucking answer.
Technically, that was
right. I mean, I don't know where they was at. I would have said the desert too.
Right.
So the rest said, "Hey, we're stopping this." They obviously have rebooked this fight. Ankalaev is the heavy favorite at -550 here. Johnny Walker at +385. The Ankalaev's last few fights have just been wild. Remember, he had the no contest against Johnny Walker. Then he had a draw against Jan Blachowicz. way back in December of 2022. Before that, though, he was on a 3-fight winning streak. Beat Vladimir Odesmeyer, Thiago Santos, and Alex Smith. Actually, before that, I take that back. He was on a 1, 2, 3,
He's on a tear.
4,
That's how he got to
5,
the
6, 7. He had won 8 in a row. So, the guy had been just lights out. And now he's fighting Johnny Walker coming off. So after the draw, and then Johnny Walker, I mean, who's also just known for weird fights and doing weird stuff. Remember, Johnny Walker hurt his shoulder for doing the worm after a celebration.
Right, he did the worm too hard.
Yeah. And then he had won his last 3 fights before the no contest that beat Alex Smith, Paul Craig, and Cutabella. His last loss was that I remember when he fell back, like when Jamal Hill knocked him out.
They knocked out the
back. It was like when somebody said it's when the toys when Andy's mom comes in Toy Story.
Toy Story and everybody falls. Yeah.
That's that's the main event. What are you thinking here? Like I said, Ankalaev, the heavy favorite here in this on this fight.
Man, listen, Magomed Ankalaev. It takes you a little while to say the name, but it doesn't take him that long to get you on the ground and possibly knock you out. I gotta just keep it real with this one. I was watching the Jan Blachowicz Magomed Ankalaev one, and that was one of those light heavyweight matchups where when they say it was a draw, like that was a true draw. And I say that in the aspect of saying that if he gave Blachowicz, pretty much all he could stand, I see him taking Johnny Walker out because he was taking Johnny Walker to the shed for just a moment, and then of course maybe in a spur of the moment quick decision, with the knee down, you can't put your knee on the opponent's head and bow. That's what happens. So unfortunately, we get this. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, we get to see this one again. I'm looking for Magomed Ankalaev to not let this last long. To be honest with you, it's rightfully so that they get to run it back. But Magomed Ankalaev, if we're starting the year off on the right foot, definitely has his sights set on possibly get to the title once again, bro. And I'm definitely with that one. No disrespect to Johnny Walker. What's going on, Rob? Appreciate you for jumping in. But I'm definitely looking for Magomed Ankalaev to do the right thing and take him out, man. Go ahead. I don't get me wrong. I like Johnny Walker, but this is one of those I'm outmatched. I didn't know it. Oh my God. And he made a mistake, because in any other aspect, I don't think it would have been that way.
Yeah, I think Johnny Walker just always does some wild shit in his fights, and I think if he does something wild, he's going to get caught by Ankalaev. We've seen Johnny kind of do some crazy things. Ankalaev he is kind of a snooze fest fighter to me at times, but I'm right there with you. I'm hammering home Ankalaev in even though he's the pretty heavy favorite here on Saturday night. The co-main here is Matthias Nicolau versus Manel Kape in a flyweight bout. Battle of top flyweights. Nicolau is 19-4-1. Manel Kape is 19-6. Manel Kape is the close favorite here at -275. Nicolau is +225. Nicolau's last few fights out, he lost his last fight to Brandon Royval. But before that, he was on a 4-5. He was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight winning streak. Yeah. And just lost to a guy who just fought for the title. And for Manel Kape, he's on a 4-fight winning streak. His last time out, he beat Dos Santos in unanimous decision. So. And that was back in UFC 293, so just not too long ago.
Right. Listen, man, Manel Kape, one of those guys where.
No, I remember. Manel Kape after he won, he was supposed to fight. Wasn't he supposed to fight? What's that kid's name from? Australia. You know, he's with what is his name? It's escaping me. And he called him called him a bunch of FAGGOTs and
yeah, right. Yeah.
remember
yeah,
he got on the microphone. He was what was it, man? Now I gotta look up this. What was this?
Now you saying it, it's making me draw a blank. Great stuff, keep it up there. Hey, thanks, man. Vegas Benchwarmers, we appreciate it, bro. Listen.
Kai Car France. That's who Cape was supposed to fight.
France. Right. Okay, I got you. So this is one of those ones right here where I'm stuck on right where it needs, right there in the middle, because Manel Cape, I got a chance to look back at some of his fights on just to stream like a couple of minutes of him. He's got a really unorthodox style. Mateus Nikelu, once again, we already know how it is. You get that brown belt, that black belt in there. When you got the jiu-jitsu, you got to worry about that ground game. And, of course, it's prevailed for him in his last few fights. I mean, this is kind of a toss-up here where if you want to go with the underdog, you can. But, man, let me tell you something. I'm not going to sleep on Manel Cape in this one. I'm gonna roll with my guy Rob Nakamura. What's going on? He's over there talking about give me Cape. Definitely give me Cape on this one because I'm not saying anything negative because if you're looking at Nikalu's roster of who he beat, I mean, what Dvorak, Elliott, you know what I'm saying? Of course, when you talk about Tim Elliott, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
Dvorak, Chanel, like he's had some really good wins, even though he's coming off of a tough loss. From Brandon Royval, and Brandon Royval is not to be slept on at all either in this division.
Yeah, he just fought for the title, so
right, that's the deal. When you got to go against the guy who goes to fight the guy, you know, if you took a loss, it's not necessarily a bad one. So right here, is it going to continue and go to 2 losses in a row against Manel Cape? Who knows? But I'm rolling with Manel Cape on this one, bro, for sure.
I'm right there with you. Just for the simple fact, I want Manel Cape to win. Mikhail Cape is 6. Mateus Nicolau is 5. So I want Cape to win, and I want them to rematch up him and Kai Car France because I'm all for the drama and the storylines. They had some real beef. Cape was getting into it with Izzy in the press conference the last fight out. It's all coming back to me now.
Right.
You know, so give me Cape to win this one too. I'm right there with you.
Hey man, listen, I like Manel's Cape spirit. When you get in those higher up, man, you got to make some noise. And he's been rattling some cages lately. So let's see if he continues to win, so he can stay in on that upward ascent that he's been on so far. Ooh, I like the next one too. Go ahead, tell him about the next one.
Yeah. We like to call him Uncle. My buddy Kenny Miller. We call him his Uncle Jim, and his Uncle Jim Miller is fighting. The ageless wonder that is Jim Miller is on this card. He's fighting Gabriel Bentonese. Jim Miller is actually the favorite. Jim has been on a nice little won his last time out. Before that, he had lost, but before that, he had won 3 in a row. Nonetheless, for the great future Hall of Famer, I think you got to say for Jim Miller. I love, just old fashioned guy, been around. I hope he wins this fight and they put him on UFC 300 because he was on UFC 100, 200. Let him be on 300. I don't care who he fights at 300. It could be Tony Ferguson. Could be let him and Tony fight in a loser leaves town match. That's kind of what I'm saying. Or Clay Guido, that him and Clay could fight at UFC 300. 2 old dogs. Again,
loser the gloves down match or something.
Yeah. Like I said, loser leaves town match. Jim Miller and Tony Ferguson, or Jim Miller and Clay Guido. I'm okay with that. I hope Jim wins this fight against Benitez on Saturday night.
Hey, listen, man. Straight up, everybody knows the deal.
He does need to retire. That's why I said him and Jim Miller at UFC 300. Loser leaves town match.
Talk about please don't want Tony fight. Come on, man.
Hey, that's everybody. Nobody wants to see Tony.
Nobody wants to see any more El Kukui, more than especially me. I'm a huge fan. I think Jim hangs him up, win or lose. Oh, my bad. You clicked on it too. We got bruh. Oh, listen, check this out, man.
Craig, I'm saying at UFC 300. Let him fight on 300. Yeah. He doesn't need to hang it up this fight, but at 300, let him hang it up.
Listen, if we get Jim Miller full beard and mullet, it's going down. Okay, I'm telling you, we get full beard, full mullet, Jim Miller. I'm sorry, Gabriel Benitez, you gotta go, bro. Old man, 40 years old. Want to show you how it's really done out here. The classic wrestling style, of course, in the MMA still is more prevalent than ever. And Jim Miller ain't gonna let you slide with one of these. Oh, let's try to pull guard on there. No, Jim Miller will take you out, or if you no matter which position you get yourself into, or try to especially if you're trying to submit it. Because hey, I'm not knocking Benitez, of course. You know what I'm saying? He is a seasoned fighter with the amount of fights he's got under his belt. That Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is dangerous. We're talking 23-11. It is definitely not to be slept on. But somehow, some way, two southpaws, I see somebody getting taken out on this one, and I'm definitely thinking Jim Miller. Because let's see, Benitez, man, he's a little iffy on his last couple fights. I mean, Nama, Quantatilio, he lost. He's been getting knocked out too. So mess around, Jim Miller, find that draw with that left hand, bro. It might be over kind of quickly.
Or choke you out. Hey, let's all hope Jim Miller wins on Saturday, fights at 300, and then maybe hangs it up. I do want to get one more fight in here to talk about on Saturday night, and that's Ricky Simón. I mean, Ricky Simón was a guy that was kind of on the up and up against Mario Batista. Ricky Simón, 20-4. He is the favorite here at minus 185. Mario Batista at 13-2. Ricky Simón's last time out, he did lose to Song Yadong, but before that, I mean, he was on a run, beat Jack Shore. Before that, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4 fight winning streak, or take 5 fight winning streak. But it seems like every time he got into that upper echelon, he took a lost to Rob Font, and then kind of beat some guys, beat Jack Shore, and then took on Song Yadong, and Song beat him. And then Mario Batista, who's at 13-2. This is kind of his first big steps, kind of climbing the ladder here. This guy is on fire here with he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight winning streak. His last time out, he beat Damone Blackshear back in August. So Batista is a guy kind of on the up and coming here.
Straight up and down, man. This is one of those ones I like to look at because you know why? This is anything goes type of fight. Y'all know how to. We all know, man. We know how the bantamweights get down. They slinging and banging. It's really happening. But this is one where I want to say I was slipping around. I want to say I watched that Brian Keller fight. And I was like, how is he going to pull this off? And somehow, some way, he slipped, got his back, submission, done deal. I love Pretty Ricky on this one. Don't get me wrong. Pretty Ricky is what they call him. But Mario Bautista, if you get caught slipping somehow, some way, either on your back, on that ground, you leave your arm out too long, it's not going to end well. You're going to end up tapping like you're trying to get a service at the hotel front desk. Okay, so for me, I definitely going to go with Jose Bautista on this one. I mean, Mario, I say Jose Bautista, baseball. Mario Bautista on this one, man. So fronts, I'm just going to go ahead and put that down. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ricky Simón figures out a way to not have Mario Bautista's strengths be seen in this one. But I definitely put my bread with Mario for the win on this weekend, bro.
Yeah, you know what? We're in unison here. I like Batista. Ricky Simón's 13. Batista's trying to get into them rankings. I like Batista to win to keep it rolling and get in, break into the rankings here by this time next week. So I do want to shout out the Ageless Wonder Andre Arlovsky's on this card as well. I mean, Arlovsky's a pretty big favorite too at plus 500. None other than former heavyweight champion of the world, Andre Arlovsky. So do want to shout him out. He's on this card as well. Hope he wins too. So he's fighting up another up and comer. But let's see if Arlovsky can get that old man strength and win one more time here.
Definitely, man. Hey, Arlovsky, if you know, it's dangerous. One of those first fighters when you start looking at those old fights and they got the custom mouthpieces on Arlovsky had the vampire fangs. I was always with that. Hey man, big shout out to somebody on the main card, man. Phil Hawes.
Yeah. Phil Haas on this card too.
This is the one I want everybody to keep their eyes on. Phil Hawes don't really play, man, but he has been on the downslide.
He's a dog in this one at plus 110.
Yeah, he's definitely a dog in this one. Bruno Ferreira, I like how this looks, but Phil Hawes is one of those guys where his wrestling and his wrestling acumen have always somehow not played into this fight. But of course, going up against Bruno Ferreira, he might be able to get this one off, man. Phil Hawes is a guy with heavy hands, but if he could get you on the ground and go ahead and get that ground and pound going, I like Phil Hawes in that one too. So big, okay, come up off the snide, Phil. Get that.
He's lost 3 out of his last 4, though. I'm a little worried. I think he
got to get off that ground, man. He's got to come up one time, man.
He's lost his last 3 out of his last 4. Where Brano he's won. Before his last time out, had won 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. So I take that back. It never lost until his last time out. He was 10. He had won 10 and straight till his last time out. So I actually like Fierro to win this one actually over Phil Haas. So
man, well, good luck, Phil. Good luck, Phil.
Before we get out of here, you got anything to add before we get out of here tonight?
Oh man, hey, look, check this out. Boxing World. Make sure you keep your eyes open. It's really going down. Possibly Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez. Oh my God, it's really going to happen this time. We all know Rolly Romero's been one of those guys who's been in the division, in and out, going, hey, look, I'm watching these guys from afar. Nobody's worth it. But then you got Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo's always going, man, hey, they're not going to pay me enough to fight these bums because Teofimo is electric when he gets to the ring. But I think this is going to actually happen. I'm going to keep you updated on that one for sure. And then, what's going on? Are we going to see Canelo fight somebody, for Christ's sake? Somebody worth Canelo's time? I think it is actually going to happen. The Benavidez Canelo fight is in the middle of getting negotiated right now. You know how boxing negotiations are. They are like so nip and tuck and pull. And, I'm worth 65 and you're worth 35 and I get more. It's ridiculous. But that's how the sanctioning bodies do when you come.
Hey, let's say going to Saudi and then Saudi just says we're both going to give you $18 million in the show.
Yes. I give you all the money, my friend Habibi. I give you all the money, Habibi. Okay, but listen, I'm looking forward to some really good boxing coming up in the year of 2024. And of course, as soon as I get it in, big shouts out to Hot Boxing Minute. If you are into boxing, you got TikTok. Anybody watching? Search for @Hot Boxing Minute. That guy, especially or on Twitter too, Hot Boxing Minute. That guy's always on point with all of the analysis after the negotiations are done somehow, some way. That's who I follow. And then, of course, I do my own research on the back end. But look out for Hot Boxing Minute. And you know how we do right here on Headkicks and Haymakers. Oh, look, they got a one fight too. Shout out to one. If you got Prime. If you got Amazon Prime, one is on Prime. So I think one's on Prime tomorrow too. I just saw it on the TV a couple minutes ago. So check that out too. We might have a little conversation about that kickboxing, man. See what goes on.
Yo, real quick, it is reported and it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz in a boxing match. I don't know about you. I could care less. Don't want to see it. I'd rather see them fight in the UFC. Don't care to see either one in a boxing ring. I wanted, unless it was going to be, if they're going to fight, it should be bare knuckle. Just bare knuckle, Jorge and Nate, bare knuckle.
You want to see Nate bleed some more? We've seen
winner. Yeah, right. Yeah, one fight where they're going to be bleeding all over the place. Winner should fight, and then winner should fight Mike Perry. That's what I think.
Oh my God, then Mike Perry just tears everybody apart. Look, I'm gonna be keeping real with you. Where's the after party? That's all I'm saying. I don't care what they're doing. Where's the after party? If it's Jorge Masvidal and the King of Stockton, You know they're having a good time when that fight is over, bro. Okay.
That's why I said I'd like to see. I would like to see it bare knuckle, man.
Listen, the thing is, take it back to the roots. Jorge Masvidal started bare knuckle in the backyard with Kimbo Slice watching. So
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't be afraid of it. And then of course you get the bulldog Mike Perry on the sideline to jump in the ring and spit in somebody's face and say, "I bet you won't do that to me." So I like that one too, man. So hey, look, Jorge, get ready, bro. I know you've been off for a couple months. Put the straw down, put the blunts down, and get ready to get some money, bro.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So, I don't really care for the glove part if they fought, but if it was bare knuckle, I might be more intrigued by it just because it's two old dudes throwing it up. Craig says they'll make just as much money, if not more, without bare knuckles and have drinks together afterwards instead of laying in hospital. Yeah, but Craig, man, that's what fighting's all about. I just think two guys who are legends in this sport should fight. Like, I'd love to see them bare knuckle, like just bare knuckle.
But I think you're sleeping on the aspect of, instead of the 4-ounce gloves, about 10-ounce gloves, and how long and how much damage the two of them could possibly do to each other. I think, hey, look, they put it on the zone. They get what's my guy nobody likes, they get one of those brothers. I can't think of him right now. I'm drawing a blank. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know which brother I'm talking about that nobody likes, that likes to fight everybody, that really is not a boxer.
The Pauls, Jake Paul.
Yeah, they get one of the Pauls to put that on. They do it in Miami. It's a big spectacle. They get Snoop Dogg on the sideline to do the commentary, and then as soon as it's over with, we just light joints in the ring. That's how that one could go, straight up. And then boom, it's a spectacle sponsored by 0.5 wrapping papers and everything. It'll be a really big deal. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tops. All my Tops papers rollers was really good. All my cone stuffers, I see you. You know what I'm saying? We speaking in code right now. Catch on. But other than that, hey man, I think I'm intrigued by seeing that. Trust me, it's not fun. It's not the 4-ounce gloves. They put it on 10-ounce gloves. They no kicking, no kneeing. Maybe we won't see too much blood from each other's faces. But
that's why I said let them go bare knuckle, baby. Just old school bare knuckle, man. I'm all for it.
Y'all see Bacchus want to kill him, boys. You want him to go out. That's it.
Yeah, just let it go out. Hey, we'll be back next week. We'll have a special guest. Shout out our guy Rob Nakamura is going to join us hopefully next week as we preview UFC 297. Is it 297? 297, I believe. Yes. Mm-hmm. So we'll preview that. Sean Strickland versus DDP. We'll break down the whole card, make our predictions, give a lock and a dog on the card as well. Looking forward to that. Might be all the cards till 300. This might be the weakest one. Poor Canadians, but nonetheless, hey, Miami, that 299 card. I know we talked about at the beginning, but damn, that card is just ridiculous.
Hey, look, wait, and one last thing. Sean Strickland actually had a really good conversation with Theo Vaughn. If y'all
yeah.
If y'all remember Theo Vaughn from the real world, I love Theo Vaughn right now on One Good Weekend, or what is it? One next weekend or one last weekend. Yeah. I love his conversations. Sean Strickland's a little deeper than we thought. He's a little more troubled than we thought.
I already knew. Oh shit. All right. Well, for me and Whit, my man Whit, this has been another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm going to hit that outro. We'll see you next week as we preview UFC 297. Be a friend. Tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. See you then. I got to find it first. There it is.